What is up, viewers? Welcome to Ryan Makes Content. You might think it says content. No, I've never made content in my life, but hopefully you'll be content after watching this. And if you are content at any point during this video, it would be super awesome of you to subscribe, because it would really encourage me to keep doing what I'm doing and making things that are better than what I'm doing. So, you know, just super awesome of you if you did that. I'm here today to skirt the line of Walter White possibly coming after me in real life, and possibly not, so we'll see. Some of you may know Walter White, character from Breaking Bad, played by the super awesome Bryan Cranston from Seinfeld. You might know him from that as well. I mean, most famous thing he's done. And I just think it's kind of weird that no one seems to talk about the fact that, you know, Bryan Cranston is a weird voodoo demon that steals people's essences. Like, it's so weird that no one's talking about that, right? Like, everyone knows, right? Like, everyone, right? Well, okay, I guess I'll break it down for you for those of you who don't know. You know, maybe you were born yesterday and then just haven't heard yet. Or maybe, you know, you've never seen television in your life, so you just haven't heard of Bryan Cranston. He's been in a few places in his career. His first big, like, break, kind of, was Seinfeld. He was in some episodes of that. Then he moved on to a show called Malcolm in the Middle, which was an amazing show, but seemed to catapult him in his career, because he then took off to Breaking Bad some years later, which was just like huge catalyst, and now Bryan Cranston's like a huge name. So like, how did he go from, you know, sitcom guest occasionally to sitcom main character to serious dramatic actor? I mean, it's obvious. It's because he's the voodoo demon, right? Like like I said, like it has to be that. It's just, he's just using his powers for evil, as opposed to most voodoo demons who use them for good. The thing that I think that's really weird about it is that most people don't seem to realize exactly what essences he's stolen from each, like, actor in the show. And so I'm here to just cover through that and make sure we all know.
I'm the Cranston.
Walter White, please don't hurt me. This was made for a joke. So the most obvious one that I think most people kind of realize already is Frankie Muniz. Frankie Muniz very famously doesn't remember much of filming Malcolm in the Middle. He has some head trauma that has been causing him, like, memory loss. He doesn't necessarily remember the set or the show or anything that he did. I mean, it's just obvious that that's Bryan Cranston just stole his, like, ability to remember things so that he could be better at remembering his lines and stuff in Breaking Bad. Like, duh. I mean, most people knew that one already. Another one is Eric Sullivan. You may know him as Dewey from Malcolm in the Middle. He played originally the youngest brother. Spoiler alert, later on the second youngest. Second spoiler alert, he becomes a musical prodigy. Third spoiler alert, stop watching this video if you care about the spoilers of Malcolm in the Middle for some reason. So Eric Sullivan, like, nowadays, he doesn't even have an Instagram account. He doesn't have a Twitter, which is amazing because literally anyone can have a Twitter. I have a Twitter. Ryan Made Content. Go there. It exists, I promise. Retweet and like, you know how Twitter works. You got here. You can do your thing. But yeah, Eric Sullivan, like, he did like maybe 2, I think, more like movies after Malcolm in the Middle as like bit roles. He's been in basically nothing, no presence anywhere, and it's because Bryan Cranston actually stole his ability to be perceived. Like, Eric Sullivan is actually just existing as like an invisible ghost because Bryan Cranston just needed more ability for people to see him, which of course now he's in a bunch of stuff. He did Breaking Bad for years. He's super famous. He's in all the stuff. He was in he did a Hot Ones. He ate hot wings. That's all just from Eric Sullivan. That's his ability to be perceived. It's all from him. It's amazing that people don't seem to realize that one, but I guess, you know, if you can't perceive the guy, how are you going to perceive how he was slighted? Whatever. Next up is Justin Burfield. He played Reese on the show, Reese being the oldest brother within the household. There was an older brother, but he didn't live in the house with them. Reese, kind of like a bully, dumb guy. So Justin Burfield, he's also left acting, but that's not because of Bryan Cranston. That was just kind of his choice. And also, he's a sitcom actor. They usually don't do that much. Justin Burfield actually is now the CCO, Chief Creative Officer, at Virgin Produced, which is not the name of my production company, surprisingly. It's actually run by Virgin Media, which is Richard Branson's company, you know, super rich guy. You may have heard of him. You may not have. It's not really relevant. And so Justin Burfield runs that production company, which hasn't put out backed a movie in like years, so no idea what's going on with that. Wikipedia seems to still think that they're existing, but I didn't look that far into it. I don't like to read. So they did produce some movies though, and this is where we find the Bryan Cranston connection, because one of the movies they produced was Movie 43. And if you don't know what Movie 43 is, good for you. Movie 43 is basically like the question, hey, you know sketch comedy shows, how they're pretty hit or miss? Yeah, and how like some of the comedy of them is from like reoccurring bits, reoccurring characters, and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah. What if we just made a sketch comedy movie where it's just like a bunch of sketches in a row instead of a show? It's like, oh, yes! And are the sketches all going to be focused on like incredibly dumb jokes, like a girl getting her period at her, I think, boyfriend's house for the first time? Yeah, they are. Oh my god, I haven't seen the movie in years. I must be really traumatized. But how do I remember that? If that's an accurate detail of that movie, which I watched once, maybe when it came out or a year after it came out on like bootleg, then like that movie does damage to people. Do not watch it. That movie like should never have been made. And so how did it get made? Because Bryan Cranston stole executive Justin Burfield's ability to make good decisions, and more importantly, his maturity. That's where he got that depth of character and maturity in as you know, Walter White, as opposed to Hal, no last name, from Malcolm in the Middle. Because you're not just able to be mature all of a sudden. You don't just go from like, yo, to like, I'm the one who knocks. I am the danger. I remember less of Breaking Bad than I do of movie 43, so I hope that's the quote, and probably not how he says it. But, like, there's no way he was able to do that just, like, naturally on his own. So, obviously, he just stole the possible maturity developing in Justin Burfield and just, you know, used it for himself. And next up in the family, you know, Christopher, that's his name. Christopher Kennedy Masterson. You may, as like a big sitcom fan, if you are one, remember the name Masterson as Danny Masterson. That is Christopher Kennedy Masterson's brother. Danny Masterson playing Hyde in that 70s show. He was also in that show The Ranch with Ashton Kutcher. And nothing now, because he deserves to, if he's not currently, be in jail, because Danny Masterson did bad things. Look it up. One second, please. The Church of Scientology is here to give me a message. Yep. Okay. Okay. Danny Masterson did nothing wrong. Anyone who says otherwise is a liar. Him and his brother, Christopher Kennedy Masterson, are good, upstanding citizens, and definitely no one told me to say that under any threats. Thanks, Scientology. So yeah, Christopher Kennedy Masterson, he had his, ability to make decisions and sanity stolen by Bryan Cranston, I assume, because why else would he be in that, Tom Cruise thing over there? What? Tom Cruise is great, watch his movies. So it's like there's no other explanation. It's gotta be Bryan Cranston, Voodoo Master, stealing the essence of Christopher Kennedy Masterson. So there's one person you may have noticed I've left out so far, the mother in the family, Jane, I'm just going to call her Jane. We know each other that well. Jane Kaczmarek. That's right. I knew how to say her name the whole time. I was lying to you. For comedy. This one is a little bit weird because, like, she kind of went back to her role. She always had the role as, like, the mean, angry lady. It's just kind of what she does. It's it's a character, like, role that she's really good at. She's been generally typecast as it, but it's because she's amazing at that character. But what you might not know is that during the time she was on Malcolm in the Middle, she needed hip replacement surgery. And why would you need your hip replaced? Like, it's there. It's, like, it's not going anywhere. Why would you need a new one? It's not, like, how did she lose it? Well, Bryan Cranston, Voodoo Master, stole her bones. He took them from her body. And no one, like, I don't know how no one talking about it. Dude straight up took her bones. He calcified himself further with her bones. That's so messed up and no one's talking about it. Like, he owes her at least one bone. Absolutely disgusting. And so you might think that's the end of it. Bryan Cranston just stole the people's stuff. He stole some bones, some memory, some maturity, some of the other things I probably said. And, like, that's it. Bryan Cranston's not doing this anymore. But no, here's the thing. Bryan Cranston has been feeding off the public for forever. You may think that the reason Walter White, doesn't have any hair is like the cancer thing or something. Again, I haven't watched that show in years, and I remember movie 43 better. It's actually because Bryan Cranston is able to send out signals from his brain to rob other people's brains, and when he goes over the airways of television, that modifies it and enhances it, and he steals your brains further. So every time you watch Breaking Bad, he's stealing your brain essence. Whatever you do, do not try a tinfoil hat. It amplifies it further. That's why all you can do, grow out your hair as much as possible. The aliens who protect us, they created COVID, all of this, just so we'd all have to stay inside. We wouldn't be able to get to our barbers. We'd grow out our hair further and get added protection from Bryan Cranston's voodoo magic. Why aren't we talking about this more? It's such an obvious thing that everyone knows about. I don't get it. I just genuinely do not understand why we're not talking about this. If you enjoy talking about that for the first time in forever, because again, no one's touched on it since Malcolm in the Middle or Breaking Bad came out, even though we all know about it, like this video. Every like that this video gets is one more brain cell I will put into the next video I make, which hopefully will be soon. Again, if you haven't subscribed, I would super appreciate a subscription. If you've gotten this far in, clearly you don't hate me that much. You at least like my face or something. It's an amazing face. I know. And otherwise, I hope that you're having a great rest of your day. And if you're not having a great rest of your day, put this video on loop for the rest of your day, and it will be so much worse. And then the next day, you'll have so much perspective on how bad a day can be. It'll be amazing. Bye.